here in Utah. I am at the Salvo indoor gun range. This is actually a relatively new range. They opened up in November. Pretty good timing for them. I'm sure they had a very busy first few months of operation. And they are well stocked. And some of the locals that came out here, we put it up on Facebook. I was going to come out tonight while I was here doing some business meetings just north of Salt Lake City. And this place is very cool. So I think we're in Layton, technically. And I was having some meetings nearby in Clearfield. And obviously the good news, the exciting thing is the PDN tour is back from hiatus. So I always take some time during 4th of July, and we went back to Columbus, Ohio, where I own, well, I'm co-owner of Endeavor Defense and Fitness, and we actually ran an extreme close quarters tactics course there. That's the course that we've been running. I started running that course. It's one of the first formal programs I really started running, and originally running it with SWAT teams. And that was a long time ago, and that course evolved through some military customers that we had. 2004 to 2007, we did a lot of work with the military, continued on into 2009, 2010, and eventually we turned that into a civilian course. And what that does, we started teaching it to civilians in about 2004, combining unarmed combatives along with the contact shooting. So it's really got about 4 different blocks. We talk about striking in close quarters, talk about grappling in close quarters, obviously. We talk about firearms retention, and then we talk about actually doing the contact shooting, and then we run scenarios. So we actually did the first instructor development for that this time. So we actually have 4 instructor candidates that took part in the course, have taken part in the course as end users before, and that's kind of the only time we're going to be running that particular course on the Personal Defense Network tour. And now I'm back out here in Utah, picking the PDN tour truck back up, and we are going to be continuing to head west into Washington and Oregon. But first, this weekend, I'll be at the Industry Masters. Why am I standing on a range? Why do I have hearing protection on? Obviously, we're going to do some shooting. For those of you who've been following it on Facebook, the Springfield XD-S 9mm. I got to shoot 2 magazines through it at Media Day at SHOT Show. I got to shoot another person's, just a few rounds through it. And this one I've actually owned for, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 weeks now. But of course, I bought it out of state, had to have it shipped back to my FFL. While I was on my 4th of July break, I went home, picked it up, got it from my local dealer there, Blackwing Shooting Center. And here we are. This is the first shots I'm going to put out of it. Now, of course, I'm only going to shoot a few magazines out of it here today. The reality is, I never trust a gun until I've put about 200 or so rounds through it, and then I've run 50 rounds of carry ammunition through it. So we're not quite to the point where we're thinking about carrying the XD-S yet, but I've been anxious to shoot my own copy of it. I'm going to put some rounds into the Q target. Hopefully it's going to function and feel good, and we'll continue testing as we go. So far, so good. No malfunctions, 3 mags, the gun locked open every time, the mags dropped free every time, mags went in, gun racked. That's what we're looking for right now. First rounds I put through a gun, I always just want to make sure it's reliable. Next thing I'm going to be working on seeing how that trigger actually feels. I'll check sight alignment, sight picture, make sure point of aim, point of impact, all that kind of stuff. And then ultimately, once I've had that first couple hundred rounds through, I'll start running the carry ammunition through it. I'll put the Winchester PDX-1 in, and we'll see what happens. So we're back out on the tour. You'll get some updates still coming. We've got Firearms Academy of Seattle. I'm going to be out there. We've got. I'm going to be working with Next Level Training up in Washington State. Again, I'll give you an update from the Shooting Industry Masters. It's great to be back out on the tour. It's great to be here at the Salvo Indoor Gun Range. Great to be shooting my XD-S. And here comes some video and some commentary from the Extreme Close Quarters Tactics course. It is one of the most physically demanding courses that exists in the training industry. Check it out. Love to see you in it at some point in the future.
I just went through the Extreme Close Quarter Tactics Instructor Development course. We brought Pincus and Endeavor and Fitness. And I have to tell you guys, it was an incredible experience. I have quite a bit of experience in combative force-on-force training, scenario building, and so on. And I think that most people in the industry, most people that want to look for training, are not really aware of how important it is to train outside of your comfort zone. This class premise is that you are really defending your gun or fighting to access your gun within 2 arm reach.
Hey, my name is Ashlyn. I was taking the Extreme Close Quarters Tactics class, mainly to learn about pistol retention. I'm a person, I don't like to carry something unless I know that I'm going to be able to hang on to it. My background in combatives is SECO, which is a combination of Indonesian silat and Kali, so I'm more from blade stick background, so it was a very different angle. So good good learning experience. I would say I would recommend the class to just about anybody, whether you're a completely beginner, you can start from the beginning and work through and get, a lot of information by the end of the day, or if you know what you're doing, you still find a lot of weaknesses and holes going through. So I think overall it's good for just about anybody.
A lot of people focus on awareness. A lot of people focus on preparedness. I'm going to be aware for sure. I'm going to be prepared. I train. That works as long as you're in control. Awareness, tactics, that intellectual knowledge that you get from reading books, taking classes, and so on is a cognitive knowledge. We use is stored in the cognitive part of the brain. When we're startled, when we're taken by surprise, the brain, the amygdala, bypasses the cognitive brain to react instinctively to the stimuli, right? So now it's really important to be able to experience that, to be able to experience being overwhelmed, to be able to experience being taken by surprise, and not having the intellectual tools, the plan, if you will, to put in action, but having to react naturally and intuitively with your body's natural reaction and really fight, dig deep until you can prevail. The important part is that whatever you learn during a scenario, during a force-on-force evolution, you're learning under extreme stress. And the more important the skill is to your survival, the least amount of reps you need to own that skills. And this really comes to the forefront when we do the deep.
I came to this class because I'm a concealed carry permit holder, and I carry a gun all the time, and it seemed like a major hole in what I knew how to do was deal with people that are as close as this camera is right now to me. And I liked it. I think it was productive. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of stuff that I sort of had imagined would work when thinking about dealing with someone this close that doesn't, and some things that don't. For someone with a firearms background similar to mine, I would strongly suggest taking this course. There's a lot of psychological and emotional content to actually being in contact with another person up close in your face, and a lot of the stuff that you can do really smoothly, really fast, gets jammed up quick, both by that psychological content and by a person physically being that close.
The other thing that we've seen is that it also teaches implicitly about force continuum, right? We cannot tell the students that all the time you're going to have to shoot the bad guy in order to stop him. Because if you are fighting for your gun, you're still using your combat, you're using elbows, knees, you're using whatever you find the wall to really try to stop the guy to gain time, space to reach for your weapon, right? Once you reach for your weapon and the guy is unconscious, you cannot shoot him, right? You can maintain control of the guy, you can give verbal commands. At the same time, if the guy is coming at you with a knife and is lunging at you, and you go for your gun first, you're gonna get stabbed. So you need to learn to stop the attack, clear the line of attack, control the arm limb, control the initiative, and counter first with empty hand strikes, with combatives, until you can have enough time again and space to go for your gun. Once you go for your gun, if the aggressor is still pressing the attack, you can engage him with lethal force. Otherwise, you need to maintain control of yourself, not just the situation, give him verbal commands and call 911 or do whatever is appropriate at that moment. So all of this really is brought to bear in the last evolution of the 2 days. Everybody, we have people with very varied background, from military to law enforcement to firearms instructor to Krav Maga instructors. Everybody that goes through, they said at the beginning they had a plan. Okay, I know what the scenario is going to be, so I have a plan to take care of that. I know there's going to be 4 or 5 bad guys. I have my gun. I know how to use it, and I'm going to be taking care of this guy, the next, and the next threat, right? So you're planning. Unfortunately, when the scenario starts, we really try to build it up in a way that will take you by surprise, that will overwhelm you. In short, no matter the level of training that you have, if you take this class, you're gonna go past your level of confidence. You're gonna learn that even in the dire situation, you have it within yourself to keep fighting until you find a solution and to overcome.